My secret to luxury travel? I hardly ever pay cash for all of these amazing business and first class flights that I take. Instead, I use credit card reward points earned from my everyday spending habits. So let me show you step by step how I booked my Air France business class flight from Seoul, South Korea, all the way to magnificent Florence, Italy, using Delta SkyMiles. So for this flight, I tried a couple of things to actually book passage, and they failed. So now we're going to attempt to do this through Delta, and I thought this would be a good chance to show people how to book award travel, at least through Delta's SkyMiles program. So first, go to delta.com, as you can see up here, or maybe not, but trust me, it says delta.com. And then log into your account, and if you've once logged in, it will bring you to a page that looks like this if you are working from an English language page. Go ahead and click on book. So if I started off here, for instance, usually that's the landing page. Go ahead and enter your destination. Here I entered ICN, Seoul, because that's where I'm currently located, and I want to go to Florence, so FLR is Florence. Booking one way or round trip doesn't really save you any points at all with SkyMiles, so I always just book one way, then I don't have the complexity of having to cancel entire routings if I have to change my plans. Sometimes multi-city might actually get you better use of your miles, but in this case, it doesn't. I already looked. February 3rd is the date of this flight. One passenger. Make sure you click Shop with Miles here. And once you click on Shop with Miles, flexible dates automatically gets ticked. Then click on Advanced Search here and choose Delta One if you care about flying premium. Obviously for me, that's the whole point in these things, is flying in the premium cabins, business or first class, for these long haul flights especially. So then it brings you up. Like I said, automatically it will show you flexibility, and it'll show you a week calendar around your dates with your date of choice straight in the center of that. Thankfully, there is availability on the date that I wanted to fly, February 3rd. Click on that, and the lowest is 90,000 miles. Plus, it'll show you here right below it the taxes and fees, which are very, very reasonable when flying out of most Asian airports, in this case, Incheon. Okay, then here options come up, and we actually have two different options. One is on, you can see the details here, on Air France. And I could tell it was Air France automatically because it says CDG, which is Charles de Gaulle. And I swear to God, I would never fly through Charles de Gaulle again if I could avoid it, because Charles de Gaulle is a terribly organized airport for transiting. But this deal, 90,000 SkyMiles for a long haul flight from Asia to Europe, you can't get that kind of price if you actually fly on Delta's transoceanic flights. They're going to be usually at least 150,000 miles or more. So this is a way better use of your SkyMiles, is to book flights on other airlines through the Delta SkyMiles program, which I'm doing here. Air France, depart at 10 a.m. in Incheon. That's Incheon time, Korean Standard Time. Landing in, yes, it'll still be Standard Time in February. Landing in Florence at 7:30 p.m. Central European Time, 17-hour total. When you click on details, then you can actually see the specifics of each flight. So flight number 1 is a 12-hour flight, 12 hours and 20 minutes, business class, landing at Charles de Gaulle, Terminal 2E, 3.5-hour layover, which should be enough, hopefully, to make that connection. It might not be though. Charles de Gaulle can be nightmarish. And then my departing flight is at 2F at Charles de Gaulle. And you probably think to yourself, 2E and 2F, those should be right next to each other, but you should never think that about Charles de Gaulle. That is not how that airport works. Just trust me on this. You always want at least a 3-hour layover for Charles de Gaulle when you're transiting. Now granted, this is a premium class flight, so that means that at Charles de Gaulle, I will actually have access to the priority lines for immigration, and the second security check. And yes, you're going to unfortunately probably have to leave the airport and come back in again. and go through security once again. It's just how Charles de Gaulle tends to be laid out. Might not have to on this one, but I think 2E to 2F you do. Okay, then down here, you see the price, 90,000 miles, 51,300 Korean won, which is like $48. It's really very, very little. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click on select flight. So then, now I'm going to go ahead and select my seats. I'm traveling, click on yes. That's great because that means it will autofill all of my saved information from my SkyMiles profile, which is fantastic. Here you see, this is the business class cabin, and this is a little unusual. A 232 configuration for long haul business class is actually very outdated. And it even says this is the new Air France business seat. So maybe they've retrofitted this plane, I'm hoping at any rate. So then you get to pick whatever seat you want. L over here. These middle seats, I would never want to be in this middle seat, even in business class if you can avoid it. Obviously, you might end up with someone next to you and you don't have direct aisle access from these window seats, but I really do like having that window seat for filming, actually. It gets the best footage for you all. Okay, then I click on next flight, and here it pops up with, you'll see actually it says Europe business, and it specifies that because European business class in terms of seat, in terms of hard product, is one of the worst in the world. And I mean that quite seriously. Seats in European business class are exactly the same seat as an economy class. The only difference is they've blocked off the middle seat. So you have more elbow room, but you don't have any more seat room. Still the same narrow economy class seats. So the hard product will be not very great, but the soft product, meaning the service and the food and the drinks, will be very, very good indeed, especially for the kind of short haul flight that this is. You can see up here, it actually shows you the time, 1 hour 40 minutes for the connection from Charles de Gaulle to Florence, Airbus 318, so it's a relatively small plane, 3-in-3 configuration. That should also tell you that there is no actual difference in the seats. They made them look bigger here because that's Delta Airlines' way of showing first class seats, but they're no bigger, no different than the seats in the back of the plane. And that is why it is called Europe Business. Yes, mysteries of airline terminology and jargon. So then, you can pick whatever seat you want, window seat if you like, or aisle seat. For these short flights, I actually generally prefer to have an aisle seat so that I have control over my life and can easily exit and return to my seat without having to beg for permission from my neighbor to depart or inconveniencing them, but to each their own. You now understand the process of booking an award fair on Delta's SkyMiles program and how to book partner awards. That's the biggest thing. Honestly, your best value for money when it comes to booking Delta or using your Delta SkyMiles to book flights is not to book them on Delta, because Delta now charges exorbitant market rates using miles. So their flights, I've seen flights up to $520,000 one way on their Delta One product across to Europe, which is absolutely obscene. Use your Delta SkyMiles to book partner metal on Air France, on KLM, on Korean Air. And that's how you do it. Okay, well, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. What is your favorite way to use your Delta SkyMiles? Travel creative, and stay tuned for your moment of Kitty Zen.